Hey everybody, I'm super excited. We are filming the first video for this series, Rewired. In this series, we're going to talk about how to connect back to God, how to grow in the things of God. We're going to gain some knowledge, some revelation, some understanding, as I mentioned in the last video. A lot of you want to grow in your relationship with God. You want to get closer to God. You want to grow in the things of the Spirit, but you just don't know how. And God said, my people perish because of the lack of knowledge. A lot of times we suffer loss. A lot of times we go through trials and tribulations. A lot of times we go through storms because we just don't know. And so I had to learn and I had to grow in my spiritual walk and my spiritual journey with God. I had to grow in my relationship with God. But I also was taught and I also was poured into. And so I came to pour into you what I learned because I saw the power of God move in my life. And I just love my relationship with God. So let's jump right into it. A lot of times we struggle because of our perspective. And a lot of times we're not intentional. And a lot of times we just don't know God, right? But the thing about relationship is how you see it, right? You have to see God as living because he is very much living. He is very much alive. And he is the one and only truly living God. And he is a real being. And he desires for you to know him. Many scriptures in the Bible talk about, depart from me because I knew you not. And we want God to know us. We want to know him. And so I want you to change your perspective. Just like you show up for a relationship with your friendships, just like you show up for a relationship if you're in a relationship with a man, if you're in a relationship with a woman, you have to show up. It's a part that you have to play. A relationship is how two people connect. It's how they behave towards each other. So ask yourself, how are you behaving towards God? How is God behaving towards you? If you really think about it, everybody talks about, you know, God been there for you. He got your back. You know, God always come through. I know God loves me. I love God. But does your behavior show that you love God? Does your behavior show that this is something that is valuable to you? Because when a relationship is valuable to you, you show up for it. You communicate in it. You grow in it. You might not be perfect in everything. And you may make mistakes, but you grow because you value what you have and you desire to keep it. It's the same way with God. You have to change your perspective in how you see God. God's relationship has to be more valuable than your friendships. It has to be more valuable to you than a man or a woman. Even if you're married, your relationship with God has to be so valuable to you more than your marriage. Because God is your first husband, man or woman. You are the bride of Christ. Our relationship with him is always first. So I want you to ask yourself, how do you view your relationship with God? How am I behaving towards this relationship that I say I desire to have, that I say that I want to grow in? Are you showing up for it? Are you trying to get to know God? Are you trying to get to know who he is? How he is? Because let me tell you, he said, my sheep know my voice, and the voice of a stranger they shall not follow. And listen, I know my Father's voice. And if it's anything contrary to what he says, like, yo, I know that's not it. God has a character. God has a way. So let's talk about it. So that means that you now have to be intentional. You have to now be responsible for your part of the relationship. Because you say, I want to grow. I want a closer relationship with God. Well, if you do, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to be intentional to grow this relationship. To show him that you love him. Because he said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. What is his commandments? The word of God. You have to know the word of God. So that means you have to eat the word of God. The word is Jesus. Jesus is the word. You have to eat the word. You have to know what the word says about you. You have to know what God says about you. He said, I knew you. I formed you. I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. And I desire to give you an expected end. I desire for you to prosper even as your soul prosper. All this mental health and self-care, guess what? God already cares about that. He tells you that in his word. He tells you how to live. The Bible is like a blueprint for you. It's an instruction manual for how to live your life and be successful. So let's talk about it. Let's be intentional. Let's be intentional waking up and saying, God, I love you. Like, I want you to start closing your eyes and seeing yourself before God. However you have to imagine God. That's why you have to have a clear imagination. That's why your conscience has to be clear. That's why you have to guard your eyes, your ear gates. That's why you have to guard the gates of your soul, because it needs to be a pure place. So when you close your eyes, see yourself sitting before your Father. See yourself sitting in front of God. I promise you. I do it all the time. He has to be real to you. He said, I dwell inside of you. The Spirit of the Lord dwells in you. You are hid in him. And he dwells in you. He's right there. And as soon as you can make the spiritual realm so real to you, you can see yourself sitting before the Father. You will begin to experience his glory, his power. You will begin to, he wants to show you that he's real. He wants to show you that he's here. He wants to show you that he is with you. And if the Spirit of the Lord dwells within you, you have access to him. And you have to grow that. Sit down, talk to him. God, I love you. God, I worship you. He said you have to worship me in spirit and in truth. Not in this natural carnal state or mind. You have to take yourself before the throne. We are seated with Christ in heavenly places. These scriptures have to become alive in you. They have to become real to you. More real than what you see. More real than this couch. More real than your family, your friends, your children. He has to become just that real for you to even be able to show up and be intentional. You have to be so desiring him. You ever wake up and you desire to talk to your homegirl, you desire to talk to your significant other, your man, your girl, your lady. You desire, when I wake up, I love my husband. I desire to kiss him, hug him. And even being married, God be like, I want you to desire me just as much as you desire to wake up and give him a kiss. Wake up and say good morning to him. I want you to desire me so much more. Y'all, God love us. He desire our attention. He has a godly jealous. No, I don't even want your husband before me. I need this time with you. So wake up and say, God, I love you. I worship you. It is because of you that I have breath in my lungs. It is because of you that I even woke up and made it through the night. It is because of you that I am living today on this side of the living. I am here because of you, and I worship you. Because later is not promised. And I dare not take it for granted. Lord, teach me how to number my days, because I love you and I worship you and I desire to know you. He said, if you seek, you'll find. If you ask, you will get the answer. If you knock, the door will open. I promise you, if you start knocking, he will reveal himself to you. And the last thing is learn him. When you begin to be intentional, you'll begin to learn the ways of God. Not just, oh, God bless me. Oh, I know he made it through. Everything gonna be all right. God got me. Oh, God know my heart. Yes, God know your heart, right? He knows us. And he desires to develop our character in a way that we look in his image and in his likeness. So do me a favor and begin to learn God. You learn him by spending time with him. You learn him by eating the word. What does his word say? God is not a God to play with. And he don't play about you. But he doesn't like our sin. He loves us so much, but he hates our sin. but he made a way out for us. He sent Jesus to die for us so that you can come boldly before the throne of grace to find mercy in your time of need. He wants you to understand that you need him. Everything you go through in life is not just to destroy you or break you. He's breaking the pride. He's breaking our ego. He's breaking the lust in our life. He's breaking the idols in our life that we want to put above him and before him, so that you can know that all you need is him. He calls people to leave. He allows people to betray you so that you can know, I need God and only God. This relationship is the best relationship you could ever have. And if I can leave y'all with one more advice, first, change your perspective. See this relationship as a true relationship. More than you take it more serious, just like you take your relationships with your friends and your family. Secondly, get intentional about growing this relationship. If you truly desire to be closer to God, this is an action step for you. This is the difference from religion and relationship. See, religion puts all the responsibility on God. Relationship requires you to show up and play your part as well, because God is already here waiting and ready for you. And lastly, in being intentional with God, you will learn God. You will learn how he moves. You will learn his ways. And you will know when the enemy tries to show up and tell you a lie, that no, my sheep know my voice. I know that's not my father. I know the things where my father flows. Everything with the enemy is confusion, dishonesty, discord, it's chaos. But when God is present, it is peace, it is joy, it flows. So that's why we're going to dive even deeper. But I wanted to change your perspective on how you view building a relationship with God. And with that being said, we're going to go deeper in the word. We're going to dive deeper in what does God say about you? Who is God? Who are you in God? And so I want y'all to do me a favor. What is it for me to give you information? It's nothing to gain information if you don't implement it. So I want y'all to comment and tell me, how are you going to implement some things that you took away from this video? Tell me what you took away. Tell me what you gained. Tell me what insight you received and how you're going to apply it to your life today. We are modernizing our walk with Christ. How can I apply this information today? So I'm trying to give you information that is very applicable to your life. So comment and tell me what you took away from it. I love y'all. Please subscribe. Please share the video for somebody else to hear. And let's journey and grow and rewire our minds, our spiritual life, so that we can begin to grow and flourish in the things of God. So I am Desmia Hughes. I love y'all and be blessed.